Hey everyone, and welcome back to Speak Smart. I'm Jane, and with me today, as always, is the wonderful Lucy.
Hey, Jane! And hey to all our listeners out there, it's great to be back. We've got a really interesting and frankly liberating topic to dive into today, especially for those of you who are just starting your English learning journey or maybe feel stuck.
Absolutely, Lucy. You know, I talk to so many people who are learning English, and one of the biggest roadblocks I hear is this idea that they need to be perfect before they can even open their mouths. They feel like they need impeccable grammar, a massive vocabulary, and absolutely no mistakes.
Oh, tell me about it. It's like this invisible wall they've built for themselves. They'll spend years studying, reading, listening, but when it comes to actually speaking, they freeze up because they're terrified of saying something wrong. It's a really common misconception, isn't it?
It really is, and it's such a shame because it holds people back from the most crucial part of language learning, actually using it. Our topic today is all about breaking down that wall and showing you the easiest way to start speaking English right now, with what you already have.
Exactly. The core idea here is that fluency isn't about perfection. It's about practice. It's about getting comfortable with the language, even if you only know a handful of words or simple phrases. Every journey starts with a single step, right?
That's so true. I remember when I was learning Spanish, I kept waiting for this magical moment where I'd suddenly know enough to speak. But that moment never came until I just forced myself to start trying, even with just basic greetings and ordering food. It felt clumsy at first, but it was incredibly effective.
Totally. It's like learning to ride a bike. You don't read every book about cycling and then expect to perfectly ride on your first try. You get on the bike, you wobble, you fall, you get back up, and slowly but surely you learn. Speaking English is no different. The perfect moment is actually right now, using what you already possess.
So let's talk about those first steps. What's the absolute simplest way someone can start using English today without feeling overwhelmed?
My go-to advice is always, start with simple sentences about your daily life. Seriously, it's that straightforward. Think about what you're doing right now. Are you sitting? Are you listening to this podcast? Say, I am listening to a podcast. Are you drinking coffee? I am drinking coffee. What did you have for breakfast? I ate toast. What are your plans for the evening? I will watch TV.
I love that because it's so immediate and relatable. You don't need a textbook, you just need to look around you and describe. Even if you only know a few words, stringing them together, however imperfectly, starts to train your brain to think in English. It creates those neural pathways.
Exactly. You're actively engaging the language part of your brain that's responsible for production, not just comprehension. It's like doing reps at the gym. Each time you say a simple sentence, even to yourself, you're building a little bit of muscle. And the more you practice, the more natural it feels, and the less you have to consciously think about each word.
That's a fantastic analogy. And it doesn't have to be perfect. If you say, me drink coffee, instead of I am drinking coffee, that's still communication, and it's a huge step forward from saying nothing at all. You can refine it later.
Precisely. The goal isn't immediate perfection, it's immediate communication, even if it's just to yourself. And you know, one thing I found incredibly helpful when I was learning a new language was to actually describe things out loud as I was doing them. So, I am walking to the kitchen, I am opening the fridge, I see an apple. It sounds a bit silly, but it makes you really engage.
That's brilliant, Lucy. It's like having your own personal narrator for your life, and it keeps the English active in your mind. What about if you want to sound more like a native speaker, or improve pronunciation and rhythm? Any tips for that?
Oh, absolutely. That brings us to another super effective method called shadowing. Have you heard of it?
I have, and it's something I recommend constantly. For our listeners who might not be familiar, could you explain what shadowing is and why it's so powerful?
Of course. Shadowing is essentially mimicking. You listen to a native English speaker, whether it's on a podcast, a short video, or even just a clip from a movie, and you immediately repeat what they say. You're not just repeating the words, you're trying to copy their pronunciation, their intonation, the rhythm of their speech, even their pauses.
So you're basically becoming their echo.
Exactly, you're shadowing them. The magic of it is that it engages your listening and speaking skills simultaneously. You're not just passively absorbing, you're actively producing. It helps you get a feel for the natural flow of English, which is often very different from how individual words are pronounced in isolation.
I can see how that would be incredibly helpful for overcoming that robotic sound some learners have. When you try to match the rhythm and intonation, it forces you to connect words and use natural speech patterns. It's not just about the individual sounds, but the music of the language.
Precisely. And you don't need fancy materials. You can use short news clips, snippets from interviews, or even just a few sentences from a YouTube video. Start with something short, maybe 30 seconds to a minute, and just loop it. Focus on getting as close as you can to the original. Don't worry about understanding every single word at first. The goal is to reproduce the sound.
That's a great point. It's about training your mouth and ear together. And again, no pressure to be perfect on the first try. It's a practice, a drill, and over time you'll hear and feel the improvement.
Absolutely. But here's the thing that often scares people away from both these methods: the fear of making mistakes. And honestly, Jane, we hear this all the time. People would rather stay silent than risk saying something wrong.
Oh, the dreaded mistake. It's like it's some kind of public failure. But you know what? Every single fluent English speaker, every single one, made mistakes when they were learning. I still make mistakes in Spanish, and I've been speaking it for years.
Right? Mistakes are not a sign of failure. They're a normal, essential part of the learning process. They're actually valuable feedback. If you say something wrong, it tells you exactly what you need to focus on next. It's like a little signpost pointing to the next lesson.
That's such a healthy way to look at it. Instead of, oh no, I messed up, it's, okay, that's interesting. I used the wrong tense there. Now I know to review present perfect. It's information, not judgment.
Exactly. We need to shift our focus from speaking perfectly to simply communicating our ideas. As long as the other person understands what you're trying to say, you've succeeded. The polishing comes later, with more practice.
I think it also helps to remember that most native speakers are incredibly patient and understanding. They appreciate the effort. They're not judging your grammar, they're just happy you're trying to connect.
Definitely. And if they correct you, see it as a gift, not a criticism. They're helping you learn. If someone corrected my pronunciation in French, I'd be genuinely grateful. It's a sign they care enough to help.
So we've talked about speaking about your daily life and shadowing. What about for those who might not have someone to talk to or feel too shy to try these methods with others initially?
Well, that's a fantastic question, because not everyone has access to conversation partners, especially at the very beginning, and that's where practicing alone comes in, and it's severely underrated, I think.
I agree. People often think you need another person to practice speaking, but it's not always true.
Nope. You can describe your surroundings out loud, just like we talked about earlier. The wall is white. There's a book on the table. You can tell a story to yourself. Recount your day, what happened at work, or what you watched on TV. You can even share your thoughts in English.
So basically thinking out loud in English. I actually do this myself sometimes even in my native language when I'm trying to work through a problem, so it totally makes sense to do it in a target language too.
Right, it's incredibly powerful. You're giving your brain active practice in forming sentences, choosing words, and structuring thoughts directly in English, without the pressure of an audience. It builds confidence internally, which then translates to external confidence when you do speak with others.
And you can do it anywhere, while you're showering, walking the dog, doing dishes. It's not something you need to set aside dedicated study time for necessarily. You can weave it into your everyday routine.
Exactly. Just like with shadowing, start small, maybe just for 2 minutes a day, then increase it to 5. Over time, these simple exercises really build confidence and develop fluency. It's that consistent, low-stakes practice that makes all the difference.
So, we've covered a lot of ground today, Lucy, from debunking the perfection myth to practical tips like daily life descriptions, shadowing, and even practicing alone. If there's one overarching message you want our listeners to take away today, what would it be?
My biggest message is this. The best day to start speaking English is today, not tomorrow, not when you finish your grammar book, not when you have a bigger vocabulary. It's right now. Take those small steps, embrace the messiness, trust the process. Every single word, every sentence you speak brings you one step closer to becoming a truly confident English speaker.
That's such an empowering thought. It's about progress, not perfection. And those small, consistent actions really do add up to huge results over time. You don't need to climb the whole mountain at once. Just focus on the next step.
Absolutely. So, challenge for our listeners today, try one of these methods. Describe your breakfast, shadow a phrase from a song, or just narrate your walk to the shop in English. Just start.
Love that challenge. And remember, we're all on a learning journey. Be kind to yourself, celebrate your progress, and just keep speaking. You've got this. Thank you so much for joining us today, Lucy.
My pleasure, Jane. It's always a blast. And to all our listeners, thank you for tuning in. Keep speaking, keep practicing, and we'll catch you next time on Speak Smart.
Bye for now, everyone.